David from the Earth Medicine Institute. I am here with Natalia Barboza, and we are going to go down to Haumana Heiau and have a look around and see what's there. This is Takitarfada. It's called owiwi, and it is used for, well, the flowers are edible, and it was used for children's medicine and for sprains and strains, although it was used similar to the haui, the Verbena littoralis. This is in the vervain family, but it's not in the vervain genus. But it's used in China. The Chinese call it yulong, which means jade dragon, I believe, because of the long flower stems. And right here is Desmodium. I'm not sure what species it is. The Desmodiums are used for bladder infections and as an antimicrobial, and they're liver protective. Yeah, so there's a number of different species. So this looks like Styracium or Desmodium. I can't remember the epithet for that. I think these are different species, but I'm not positive. But anyway, yeah, and the old Hawaiians would smoke them for asthma. Not that I'd recommend doing that, but that's what's reported by McBride. And this is Elephantopus. It's an Ardesia. It's in the daisy family. And I never used this until I saw it in a book on Ayurvedic, on Indian medicinal plants, an Ayurvedic book. And it was, I can't remember actually how that was first described, but I use it as an antimicrobial with my patients. So I use it for bacterial infections. And there's little hairs on the leaves. So I like to put it in a bag, dry it out, and then put it in a bag before I boil it up. And this is the legendary noni. It's in the coffee family, Rubiaceae, and it's used. I use it as sort of a what I call a qi and yin tonic. So it energizes, but it's also somewhat moistening and cooling. And you can use it topically for bacterial infections. The ripe fruit, it works very well. You can put it in a jar and let it kind of ooze out pâté style and then drink that. I will tend to put it in a strainer and then, or blend it up and then strain out the seeds and keep the pulp. And I'll take a tablespoon of that. It's yeah, it's used for, it's reportedly used for cancer. And what else is it used for? The leaves are used topically for sprains and broken bones and strains. Although we can't legally treat broken bones with herbs, but Hawaiians would. They would heat the leaves and put them on a sprain or a broken bone. And then the roots are very antimicrobial. So the roots are bright yellow. And if you grind them up, you can take them in capsules. I probably wouldn't want to take them as a tea, but you might. And those are used for bacterial infections. This is Ardesia gangetica. This is, I think the name is Chinese violet, even though it's not a violet. I think it's an Acanthaceae. But these are edible. The leaves and the flowers are edible. And they are not too bad. A little bit mucilaginous. These are used for, well, as an edible, but also for, I believe, lung infections. I would have to look it up. I don't use them very often, but they certainly are everywhere in the moisture windward sides of the island. This is Lawai fern. Phimatosaurus grossus, I think, is the species. The Uncle Kalua and Papakalakea would use this for, together with the Oxalis, the ihi, for so the loae that have no sori on them, no spores, they would use internally as a liver cleanser and a spring tonic as in a tea. And then the loae with the Oxalis, the ihi. And then they would use the ones with the spores, like this one here. They would use topically for sprains and broken bones and things. This is Christmas berry. This is Anacardiaceae. It's in the poison ivy, poison oak, mango family. I don't use this myself. The dried seeds can be eaten and used as a condiment like pepper. But if you have allergies to poison ivy or poison oak, you want to be really careful of this. Lily Sue, who was a Taoist practitioner on Oahu, used to use these tips dried in a lot of her formulas. But I don't. I find the family a little tricky, so I kind of stay away from it. But we are under a Milo tree, but also there's a lot of Terminalia catalpa in it here. These are called beach almonds or false Kamani, I believe. And these are actually edible sometimes. You can, they're a lot of work to get the meat out of them. Let's see if we can open this one up. As you can see, that's a lot of work. Oh, there we go. So that's opened up. Yul Gibbons describes these in his book. He has a book on written on Maui and on Oahu called Beachcomber's Handbook. Yul Gibbons was a very famous wildcrafter gentleman. So there's the beach almond there, and you can try it. It's like an almond. It's not too bad. It's just a lot of work to get them out, but if you could figure out a way to get them out quickly or easily, it would be worth it. And the leaves of the Terminalia catalpa are used in Ayurveda for yeast infections. Interesting, as a tea. And then this is the same genus as Terminalia chebula, which is a very famous Ayurvedic herb, and also it's the herb that the medicine Buddha is holding in his hand in those paintings. He's holding I believe a bowl and then the Terminalia chebula. Looks like a rat was trying to get a hold of this Terminalia seed. This is Hau. It's Hibiscus tiliacea. It's a bit of a sociopath. It's kind of a gangsta plant. It does whatever it wants. They say it goes anyhow it wants. The inner bark is used for cordage and as a cold infusion to help deliver babies. The flowers are edible. It was used for the amas on the canoes, the arms there. And just all around really good stuff. And this here is Wadelia prestrata. Actually, it has a new name now, and I can't remember what it was. Stagnatic cola or something, but it was called Wadelia. And this is used in China as a medicinal plant, but I don't use it because it has a lot of PAs in it, which are pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which are liver toxic. But you could try it topically for bruises and sprains. I've never used it. So here we have 3 poisonous plants, different levels of toxicity. This is Senecio. I can't remember the epithet. This has pyrrolizidine alkaloids in it. And then we mentioned the Wadelia here that has pyrrolizidine alkaloids. This is Amelia sonkifolia, yes. And this also has pyrrolizidines in it. So I don't use any of these internally. And this is Solanum americanum, which is popolo. And my Hawaiian teachers would use this, and I will use it sometimes, but much less than I used to. There's a chemical in it called solanine, and I've seen some epidemiological studies that say that solanine might not be good for you over the long haul, over long term, but my Hawaiian teachers would eat the leaves, especially if you heat them, and the berries, the purple berries are edible, but I probably wouldn't eat too many of them. canopy is all mangoes. I'm guessing these are at least 100 years old, judging by the widths of the trunks. This is the Oxalis that goes with the Hawaii fern that we showed before. So this is what Uncle Kalua and Papa Kalakea would use for internally for spring cleanser, diabetes, things like that, and then topically with the Hawaii, with the spores, with the sore eye for sprains and broken bones and things. This is an Ardesia. For years I thought this was, the berries were poisonous on this, and then I read somewhere that they weren't. So I've tried them before. They're very astringent and sweet. I've read also that the roots are used in Thailand for something, I don't remember what, but I'm still a little skeptical of this plant, so I probably wouldn't use it much until more research has been done. It's also very invasive. It grows, it'll take over a whole forest floor on its own. This is Canna indica. The pico, the mu'o, the little centerpieces here are edible. This one's not coming up very well. This is our old friend Cedar rhombifolia. It is, I think on every herb walk I go over this, but it's really good stuff. It's an edible, about 25% protein, the leaves. It has a chemical in it that your brain makes when you fall in love, called phenethylamine. And we will mix it with hibiscus flowers and kava to make a sort of an apathogenic tea. Don't know if it works, but it appears to. And it's a great antimicrobial. And there's another cedar here called Cedar cordifolia, which is just a newcomer on the scene. I hadn't seen it before up in Heiau and Ulupalakua, but it's quite prolific up there now, and it also is quite medicinal, but I haven't really researched it. But this is definitely a standby. Used for lung problems, and as I said, bacterial infections. And they once used for cordage too. It has little yellow flowers, which are on the end of a stem. So these two are often mistaken for each other, but they are different. You can see the margins. This is called basket grass. I can't remember the genus, and this is camelina, which is a called hono hono. These look the same, but they're different. See the wavy margins here. The camelina also has a sap, a liquid in the stem, which is not cooperating well. You can maybe see that right now. The basket grass does not. The camelina is used for fevers. We make a soup out of this. These tips here are edible. They're in the, maybe not. No, anyway, if you could pull it out, it would be edible. Here we go. Fevers, moistening poultices, on and on and on. This is really good stuff. And here we are at the heiau, the Kuliki heiau, the Haumana Heiau, and thank you for joining me and doing this.
Thank you for bringing me along, David.
You are so welcome. Later.